Hey guys, happy Friday. I was looking at some trades in my other leagues this morning, and I figured we could do an episode here about finding trades, best way to do that, and some of my thoughts on them. Just had a spicy trade here of yesterday of Elijah Moore for a 2024 first and a 2023 second. Um, if we let's just look at these rosters really fast. So let's see. How do I do that on the desktop app? Is a question. So we'll go to the league. You can view this trade here. We could let's just go to these teams though. All right. So Jonesy is the one that ultimately. This is such a garbage desktop app, by the way. How much do I have to talk about that? Jonesy is the one who traded away his future for Elijah Moore. So his wide receivers are Allen Robinson, Michael Pittman, Chris Godwin. He's got Sammy Watkins, Nelson Aguilar, Tyler Lockett, Van Jefferson, Nick Westbrook Ikine. I don't know how to say that. Elijah Moore, Wandale Robinson, Randall Cobb. It's a 10-team league, so keep that in mind. I guess for me, I was looking at it and it was like, does Elijah Moore even make this guy's starting lineup? I'm not sure. He's got Barkley, Aaron Jones, Travis Kelce, Eckler, Chubb, Derek Carr, and Dak Prescott. This is a super flex league, so got to keep that in mind. So it's an interesting trading for a young receiver who might not even, who knows how good Elijah Moore is going to be this year. I have a lot of faith in his abilities, but it's a spicy trade. If it were me, I'd probably want to be on the end of receiving those two nice picks. A future first in 2024, which is only going to appreciate in value. Something we haven't talked about a whole lot, but picks don't lose value, not until you make your pick. They just gain value because they can't get hurt. Picks can't get hurt. You can pick anybody you want with that. It could turn into anything. It could turn into Jamar Chase. It could turn into Denzel Mims. You have no idea. So, two shots at it, a first and a second, to get somebody as talented as Elijah Moore. I like those odds, especially in a 10-team league. So to me, that makes a lot of sense. Really, no matter what situation I'm in, I don't think anybody's really relying on Elijah Moore to be a starter. So what I thought I'd go through today is like, let's say I'm feeling a little left out here, and I want to make a trade. Let's try and make a trade, or at least think of a trade today, and see what my thought process is there. So I know everybody's really excited about making trades. So you can look at my lineup here. Herbert. My running backs are CEH, Pollard, Waddle. I've got, for my wide receivers, Waddle, Metcalf. I got Freiermuth, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Darnell Mooney, and Tua. So this team is rebuilding, completely rebuilding. No good running backs on the bench besides James Robinson, Khalil Herbert. James Cook could be something. I like these three. I think they could be turned into something. Got Jahan Dotson, which he has the greatest mixtape of all time. Go check it out. Just Google Jahan Dotson mixtape. And then we don't see the taxi squad here, so that's cool. I bet I can go to my team though and see it. So taxi squad, we've got guys like Sky Moore, and then Jameson Williams is on my IR. So lots and lots of receivers. In a rebuild, though, it kind of makes sense to have lots of receivers. And I'm hoping that I have a nice pick this year and can fill in those running back slots with picks. Got a couple picks already. So who's someone we could trade right now? I think in a rebuild, it's pretty different from like an a competitor, right? So I'm not wanting really to trade my wide receivers, and I've gone into this before. It's a pretty bad game to trade players who are young and are gonna be, um, good for a long time, or could be good for a long time. So any of these guys, I'm not really feeling great about trading. Waddle, Metcalf, Judy, Devontae Smith, Mooney, any of those dudes. Jameson Williams, Sky Moore, those guys. I'm not feeling trading those guys. I'm not going to trade any of my picks. So what could I trade? I'm not going to trade Herbert or probably Tua because I feel like those are young, good quarterbacks. So we could look at guys like CEH, Tony Pollard, and I don't know. That's about it. CH, Tony Pollard. Could trade one of my tight ends, but they just don't have a ton of value. So today let's just focus on Tony Pollard. Let's say I want to trade the hype on Tony Pollard. And yeah, there's not a lot of hype out there, but there's somebody probably who wants Tony Pollard on their team, who wouldn't hate it, and would give me something for him. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Keep Trade Cut. So let's go to Keep Trade Cut. Let's be nice and answer their questions this time. So they're asking me in a Superflex league. I'm going to turn Superflex off because you guys, we don't play Superflex in our league. So Corey Davis, Kenny Golladay, and Bryan Edwards. This is an easy keep on Kenny Golladay. I've been burned too many times on Bryan Edwards and Corey Davis, but I guess Bryan Edwards is younger, so maybe, I think Bryan Edwards is the second best. I'm going to submit that. Okay, so let's look at Tony Pollard. Let's look at his value on Keep Trade Cut. So he's running back 28. He has a value of 42.62. So guys around this range are picks, like the last pick of the first round of the rookie draft. Russell Wilson, Kadarius Toney, and Brandon Cooks. I'm really surprised by some of these values. Like Russell Wilson for Tony Pollard, I would be shocked if that trade went down based on all the hype on the offense there for Denver. But yeah, that's the whole point here of Keep Trade Cut. So this is all great, but is there a team that would actually give Russell Wilson? Are they in a position to give Russell Wilson to me? Is there anybody who would give me a first-round pick? Now, we've already had our rookie draft, so I can't get a 2022 first-round pick. And I'm going to guess if I type in 2023, well, if I could type, typing is hard. Let's say even a 2023 late first. Let's see. And here it is. You guys can see it in action. The hype of the 2023 class right here. A late 2023 first is worth so much more than Tony Pollard. And honestly, to me, it would be worth a lot more. I think there's probably 12 guys in the next draft class I'd take over Tony Pollard. So I kind of agree with this. But you can see like they were trying to even the trade with a 2022 late first, and it's nowhere close to value in this to the 2023 late first. So 23 class is a lot better than 2022. Okay, so maybe we need to go to Dynasty rankings here, and well, actually, I'm gonna go back to the trade calculator, put in Tony Pollard. I need to get a number here. So he's running back 28 overall. So let's try and find him. Let's try and find him in the rankings. Like he's pretty far down here. I'm on the rankings part of this website. So we're in running back 24. Okay, so Tony Pollard. And so they gave us some names around here so we can see the full rankings here. Tony Pollard. There's guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Juju. Juju would be a really interesting target for a rebuilding team. A 2024 late first. That's an interesting one for a rebuilding team. Maybe somebody... See, that's an idea right here. So this is an idea for any team, and it would probably have to be a very specific team that would give a first for Tony Pollard, right? So now we actually have to go through the process. If that was our goal, that we could start out by saying, hey, to our league mates, hey, let's give. I would put Tony Pollard on the trade block, and then I would say I'm looking for a 2024 first if anyone wants to give me that for Tony Pollard. Could try and get Jahan Dotson. He's already on my team. Zeke's value is pretty close to Tony Pollard. That's crazy. I think that's probably a good place to start. Let's look at, you guys are that's probably the first thing that came to your mind, right? Like, who's the Zeke owner in this league? And I think I know off the top of my head. And if we were on the mobile app, it'd be so much easier. And we can do it here. We can just go to players, and I'm just way more used to it. So we can go here, Zeke. We got Hands Dynasty. So he might be an interesting trade partner. So let's take a look at his team. Let's go to trade. Let's pick Hands Dynasty, and let's look at what he's got here. All right, so I want to trade Tony Pollard, right? That's what we're going for. What kind of players does he have that I like? Well, I just traded him Elijah Mitchell for some second-round picks, multiple seconds. I don't want him back. I don't want Zeke. Kyron Hill, kind of interesting. Pacheco, the Pacheco hype train. Should I trade Tony Pollard for Isaiah Pacheco? That seems like a pretty lateral move to me, but kind of interesting. And then let's look at his wide receivers. So Amon-Ra would be like a full fleece, I would think. But hey, let's put it in keep trade cut right here. Let's go to the trade calculator. Let's see what Amon-Ra. He has a hyphen in his name, so I messed that up. I think we're pretty sure that's like Amon-Ra is approaching Tony, or is approaching territory of like a 2023 first. So it's very unlikely he would go for that. And he would probably just tell me to go away if I tried to trade him that. Especially, like, one thing to think about here is not just for your team, but for their starting lineup. Like, why would that make any sense? Look at his wide receivers. This guy's a competitive team. He might not win, but dude sold a lot of his picks. If we go to draft picks, this is so ugly, this interface. It's just so much nicer on the mobile app. But you can see, like, he's already sold his 2023 first and second. He has a 2024 first. So, like, that might be worth trying. It might be worth trying to add for Tony Pollard. He might think this is a completely crazy trade and not go for it. But if we could try it. Who else does he have? He has Isaiah Likely, who we all know is a stud. Right? Who knows what he's going to be, but he's a preseason darling, and I just traded him in another league, in our league. Let's look at his wide receivers. Guys I'm interested in. Well, Jalen Tolbert is really interesting. He's got some old guys on the trade block. Jacoby Myers is probably going to be pretty productive, but am I interested in him? I don't know if he really fits my timeline. Nico Collins, Josh Palmer, those guys are super interesting to me. Let's see what Keep Trade Cut says about Nico Collins. So he's a younger player. Now, Nico Collins for Tony Pollard straight up looks like a loss for me. So could I do like Nico Collins and Josh Palmer? All right, so now this is looking like a win for me. And you probably want to start trade talks, most of your trade talks where you're feeling like really good about your trade, right? You don't want to, something I used to do a lot was like make sure the trade was very, very fair. And like, don't worry too much about that. send a trade that you would accept in a second, right? Be like, I feel great about that trade. Don't have any trade regret just because, oh, I made that calculator work out perfectly in each person's favor. Like, they're not going to get mad about it. Those kind of things are silly to think about. So if I sent Tony Pollard over and I got Nico Collins and Josh Palmer, those would be super interesting prospects. And I think I would really like that for my team. It feels like a lot of wide receivers, right? But when you're wanting to be bad and want that draft pick to be good, or draft picks to be good, it could be really, really nice to stack up one position and get a bunch of value there. And yeah, we could go for something like that. So what do I like better in this league? Getting a 2024 first. So getting a first in 2 years, or getting two guys that I think are really interesting and could be good like this year or next year. Yeah, I guess it's up to your your risk palette, your appetite here, but I kind of like going for those two players first instead of a 2024 first. 2024 first seems fine, but I don't know. I think I'd rather have Nico Collins and Josh Palmer. So, one more thing, one more thought on this like being bad thing for a rebuilding team. Not only do you make your first pick worse by trading away your running backs, you also make your second round pick and your third round pick better. After a certain time, like your picks aren't that important, but like your fourth and fifth round picks, you don't really care where those guys land, but an early second, especially in this 10-team league, is worth a lot. That's the 11th best player off the board. Let's say in our 14-team league, if you're the very worst team, you're getting the 15th best guy off the board, and that's a lot more valuable than the 28th, the late picks. So being a bad team gets you, more than just your first round pick. We tend to focus on that first round pick, but the second and third round picks can be a lot better too. So it's a strategy, especially if you're a huge fan of the upcoming class. Now, I assume this trade is going to be shot down, but I'm going to send it on over because why not? Here we are. So Josh Palmer, Nico Collins for Tony Pollard. He's probably going to decline this in like half a second, but whatever. So this is my thought process for trades. Maybe he wants to handcuff Tony Pollard and wants to have that for years kind of locked up. Yeah, who knows? We'll see what he thinks. He sends me a lot of bad trades, so he tries. One thing that this guy does a lot is, and if we look at, I don't know if we have trade history here. I don't really think we do. But he sent me stuff like, "Oh, I'm about to drop Amari Rodgers. Would you give me a third round pick for him?" And it doesn't hurt to ask, but he does it every time he's about to drop somebody on the waiver wire. So I doubt this trade goes through, but it might. So I guess like recapping thought processes on trades, look at your team. What are you trying to improve? And if you're contending, you want to fill out your starting lineup, right? You want that starting lineup to be really, really good. I'm not sure if my team's a contender in our league yet. We'll see. But recently made a trade for Zach Ertz, right? I gave up the future potential of Isaiah Likely and a third-round pick in 2023 for Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is the number 2 target on this Arizona offense until DeAndre Hopkins gets back. So at least the first 6 games of the season, he's big time. And then he'll be the third target which isn't bad still on a pass happy offense. So I know this guy has a role. He's older though, and he has some pretty rough looking hair these days. So that's a choice by Zach. But he's giving me I was completely missing a starting tight end in this league, and if I want to give myself a chance to compete, I at least need to have a startable tight end. That was the thought process there. Each team is very different, right? This team, I'm not trading away my running backs right now. If I wanted to later in the season, if my team is bad, maybe Eckler's still a good player, but my team is bad, I might consider trading him. And I would have to look around to find the contending teams and see what they would give up. Hopefully this helps while you're kind of going through your process. Spend a little time making sure that your trade partner actually could use the asset you're giving them. Don't just try to trade stuff to people because the trade calculator says so, right? Think about what they're actually trying to do with their team. Are they trying to contend? Are they rebuilding? Would they actually want to give up this asset to get this thing on my team? The trade block is really, really helpful. We've talked about that. It gets conversations started really quickly. So use that to your advantage as well. All right, so that's our short video for the day. Let me know if you guys got questions. Talk to you all later.